I'm Jess, and this is my first video tutorial. Um, what I'm attempting to create is a tunnel for my little ferret boy to run through. I've never made this before, so it's kind of a hit and miss, trial and error with you guys. Basically what I'm using is one of the Hawaiian Punch, the big square bottles, and I've already cut it into these little squares, just like this. So you need something sharp to cut these with, because I had a heck of a time with my scissors. Fleece, because that's what you're going to cover it with. So basically what I did to start with, my original plan was to cut fleece strips and cover this. Was going to be a no-sew project. So if you don't have a sewing machine or you don't know how to sew, this is still doable. Basically, you would just take the strips and tie them to the outside so that you cover up any of the sharp edges that result from cutting with plastic. What I ended up doing, because I'm lazy and it's not a pretty job, is cutting a long strip, folding it around the plastic, and then sewing it together on my sewing machine. See that there? It's a very ugly. I wanted to keep an example so that I could show you what I was working with, and also show you that this could be done by just tying the fleece instead of actually stitching it around. So after that, what I did, after chopping my finger off with my rotary cutter, because they're amazingly sharp, is I took my fleece, and I'm going to be making a fairly short tunnel. My little guy is teeny tiny. I just got him yesterday. He's probably 7 weeks old, maybe. He's tiny. So I'm not really worried about how this being long. So basically you just cut it to whatever length you want your tunnel to be. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is take this. You're going to want to size this all the way around, just like make enough, enough fabric that it's going to go all the way around the tube. What I didn't do was make sure I left enough so that I could tie the ends together. So my bottom is going to have to be open. So whenever you're sizing this, you're going to want to have probably a good 2 to 3 inch overlap on both ends. Kylie, sorry, my daughter is trying to get in on this. So you want a good 2 to 3 inch overlap on each side so that whenever we cut this, you can tie it just like this no-sew here on this side. So I'm going to leave mine open. However, you do want to take this, and it's probably going to be easier if you just go ahead and fold it in half again so that you only have to do half the cuts. So there were pieces folded in half. Also make sure that whenever you size this, that you size off the rough edge. So we're going to go ahead and cut probably about that length. That length will probably be a good length. And you'll want these to be about 1 inch thick. That way you have plenty of handle room whenever you start tying these together. Okay, mine aren't quite 1 inch thick, but you get the idea. Okay, so now you're going to want to flip this over and do the same to the other end. Okay, so now we've got our frilly ends here. So now, what you're going to do, you're going to line up the edge. You're going to take your first frill, you're going to go under, take the second one over, and you're going to take these and you are going to tie a knot.
Ouch! Ouch! Ouch!
Come on, baby.
It's a head.
Come here.
Okay.
Come here. And you're going to take the second one. You're going to do the same. You're going to weave it back under here. Like I said, trial and error. I've never done this before, so I'm sure that certain things are going to end up being changed. You may find something that works better than what I'm doing. And probably an even better idea is to go get you a couple of the plastic rings, or maybe even wooden needle, or not the wooden, the plastic needlepoint rings. They're a little bit thinner, but they're still large, or you can get them large enough for any size animals, really. Sugar gliders, guinea pigs. It would probably be a little bit easier because you wouldn't have to worry about the sharp edges, so you wouldn't actually have to cover them unless you just really wanted to. And I also think they're a little thinner than this, so it'd be a little easier, and you wouldn't have to cut your strips quite as long. Okay, so like I said, trial and error. Never done this before. So I have found here that you're really going to want to cut your fabric a lot longer, because I have tied this and it has only gone close to half around. I'm going to see if I can get it to stretch out a little bit. Okay, so what has happened is, as I'm tying this, I didn't actually make it all the way around. I've got a gap here. So I'm going to go ahead and say that whenever you size the width of your tunnel fabric, you might as well just go ahead and double it. Double, like, what the circumference is. Go ahead and add a whole nother. That way you can do your side frills, and you won't have to worry about not having enough fabric to tie all the way around. The idea on the side one would have been, wait for my camera here to refocus. Okay, so the idea on the side frills that I was talking about would have been, once this had gotten tied on, you'd have a lot of extra fabric. We would have cut slits just like we did for here, and you would have tied them together this way so that it would close your tunnel. But like I said, I didn't do enough fabric. I didn't even make it all the way around my tube, but that's the general idea. So I'm going to go ahead and tie on the other side, and then I'll let you see my finished product. Okay, so here is my finished product. You can see it's actually turned out longer than I had thought. I probably did my fabric backwards, but that's okay. I think it still turned out pretty good, and it's open on the bottom. So this is it. I'll see if I can get my little guy to get up and check it out and see how he likes it, and kind of demonstrate exactly how this would be used. Here's my little guy. He's decided not to wake up to demonstrate for us, but I can demonstrate it. So this is the tunnel. Basically, your little critter would go inside, and woohoo! So that's my finished product. My tunnel. It's pretty neat. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I could probably actually get some thread and stitch the bottom of this together if I wanted to, but I'm not really worried about it at this point. But thanks for joining me on my first tutorial. It was an adventure. So I hope that you come up with some great ideas and that you make some pretty neat tunnels and that your little guys love it.